Hey, this is so cool. Like, shh. Quiet, please. Thank you for being quiet, class. Hello, class. Welcome to this week's filmmaking lesson. On tomorrow, it's my birthday. So you class can make my birthday wishes and then post on YouTube, okay? And on Thursday, we should go to the assembly and do Remembrance Day. So all of you class can film it and then post on YouTube, okay? As well. Alright. So, first, we will be doing home video releases. On today, we will be doing The Addams Family 1991 film. Here's a plot in this film. Gomez Addams laments the 25-year absence of his brother Fester, who disappeared after the two had a falling out. Gomez's father, lawyer Tully Alford, owes money to loan shark con artist Abigail Craven and notices that her adopted son, Gordon, closely resembles Fester. Tully proposes that Gordon pose as Fester and to infiltrate the Addams household, then find the hidden vault where they keep their vast riches. Tully and his wife Margaret attend a seance at the Addams home, led by Grandmama, in which the family tries to contact Fester's spirit. Gordon arrives, posing as Fester, while Abigail poses as a German psychiatrist named Dr. Greta Pinderschloss, and tells the family that Fester had been lost in the Bermuda Triangle for the past 25 years until she found him in some tuna nets. Gomez, overjoyed to have Fester back, takes him to the family vault to view home movies from their childhood. Gordon learns the reason for the brothers falling out. Gomez, who was jealous of Fester's success with women, and wooed the conjoined twins, Flora and Fauna, Amber away from him out of envy. Gomez starts to suspect that Fester is an impostor, when he is unable to recall important details about their past. Gordon attempts to return to the vault, but is unable to get past by a booby trap. Gomez's wife, Morticia, reminds Fester of the importance of family among the Adamses and of their vengeance against those who cross them. Fearing that the family is getting wise to their con, Abigail, under the guise of Dr. Pinder Schloss, convinces Gomez that his suspicions are due to displacement. Gordon grows closer to the Addams family, particularly the children Wednesday and Pugsley, whom he helps to prepare a swordplay sequence for a school play. Abigail insisted that Gordon not attend the play, but after feeling deeply saddened by this, he attends anyway. After the play, Dr. Pinder Schloss insists that Fester must once again leave, so the Adamses throw a large party with their extended family and friends, during which Abigail plans to break into the vault. Wednesday overhears Abigail and Gordon discussing their plan and escapes them by hiding in the family cemetery. Tully learns that as the elder brother, Fester is executor of the Adams estate and therefore technically owns the entire property. With help from the Adamses, neighbor Judge George Wanlock, whom Gomez has repeatedly infuriated by hitting golf balls into his house. Tully procures a restraining order against their family, banning them from the estate. Gomez attempts to fight the order in the court, but Judge Womack rules against him out of spite. While Abigail, Gordon, and Tully try repeatedly unsuccessfully to get past the booby trap, blocking access to the vault, The Adamses are forced to move into to the motel and find jobs. Morticia tries to be a preschool teacher. Wednesday and Pugsley sell toxic lemonade, and Thing, the family's animated disembodied hand, becomes a courier. Despondent, Gomez sinks into depression and lethargy. lethargy. Morticia returns to the Adams home to confront Gordon and is captured by Abigail and Tully, who torture her in an attempt to learn how to access the vault. Thing observes this and informs Gomez, using Morse code, who then rushes to Morticia's rescue. Abigail threatens Morticia's life if Gomez does not surrender the family fortune. Fed up with his mother's behavior and constant berating, Gordon returns against her, using a magical book which projects its contents into reality. He unleashes a hurricane into the house, which strikes his own head with lightning and launches Tully and Abigail out of the window and into open graves dug for them by Wednesday and Pugsley. The movie ends with a coda taking place 7 months later at Halloween. The family states that Gordon was really Fester all along, and that the previously made-up story about Fester being found in the tuna nets after being lost in the Bermuda Triangle is true. They further state that Fester had suffered from amnesia this entire time and only recovered his memories after being struck by lightning, with the family whole again as they play Wake the Dead. Morticia informs Gomez that she is pregnant. Alright, on tomorrow we will be doing Batman Year 1. Unfortunately, there's no year. It's about the comic book strip. Alright, on Wednesday, we will be doing Evolution 2001 film. Here's a plot in this film. A large meteor crashes in the bar in Arizona, does it late at night, and is witnessed by would-be firefighter Wayne Gray. The next day, local college science professors Ira Kane and Harry Block investigate the crash site, discovering the meteor had landed in the cavern and bleeds a strange blue liquid when it's scrapped. They quickly learn that the meteor harbors extraterrestrial, nitrogen-based microorganisms that condense millions of years of evolution within a matter of hours. The next day, the microscopic organisms have evolved into sexual fungi and flatworms that cannot breathe oxygen, and aquatic life the day after that. The site is soon sealed off by the U.S. Army. Ira and Harry ask General Russell Woodman and the clumsy CDC Dr. Allison Reed to aid in their research, but their efforts fail when it is revealed Ira was discharged from the Army after a failed experiment of his went terribly wrong. Woodman steals Ira and Harry's research, forcing them to infiltrate the base to get another meteor sample. To their shock and awe, the caverns now harbor an alien rainforest, teeming with tropical plant and animal life, including flying insects and carnivores. Plant life. That night, a large reptilian creature fatally mauls the owner of a local country club, and the next day a dog-sized frog-like animal attacks two elderly ladies in their own home. Ira, Harry, and Wayne find a valley behind the home filled with suffocating dragon-like creatures, which they theorize cannot breathe oxygen and are escaping from the meteor site through the local caverns. However, a newly born dragon quickly adapts to the Earth's oxygen and terrorizes a shopping mall before being gunned down by the trio. With the media becoming increasingly involved in the alien attacks, the governor of Arizona visits the site demanding answers. Ellison believes that the aliens will engulf the United States in 2 months. The Woodmen suggest a napalm strike to destroy the meteor's contents and the town around it. Though the governor does not want to bomb the community, the base is suddenly attacked by primate-like creatures that would wound several members, and this convinces the governor to approve Woodman's napalm strike. Disgusted, Ellison quits the CDC and joins Ira's crew. Ira later realizes that intense heat triggers the alien's DNA and that the initial impact to Earth inactivated its evolution. Ellison's pleas to Woodman are ignored, and the town begins evacuating for the impending bombing strike. Looking at the positions of nitrogen and carbon on the periodic table, Ira theorizes the selenium might be poisonous to the aliens as arsenic is to Earth's carbon life. Much to Ira's surprise, two of his dumbest students, Deke and Danny Donald, recall the selenium sulfide is the active ingredient in Head and Shoulders hair shampoo, which they decide to use against the alien organisms. Wayne procures a fire truck and fills it with the shampoo with help from his college students. However, Woodman's napalm strike goes off ahead of schedule before their team can try their plan, triggering the entire alien ecosystem to fuse together into a single immense immobile-like blob that sounds hundreds of feet tall. The giant mass begins multiplying through mitosis, which it would do infinitely until the country was overtaken by thousands of these gigantic creatures. The team maneuvers their fire truck underneath the mass and discovers a rectal-like orifice to spray the shampoo into. Moments before the creature splits into two, the team is successful and the monster explodes. The governor declares Ira, Harry, Wayne, and Allison heroes. Wayne is made by fully credentialed firefighter, and Ira and Allison begin dating. Later, Harry, Ira, and Wayne are shown promoting Head and Shoulders for both hair care and fighting the aliens. Alright, in this photo, it begins with a periodic table of the positions of carbon and nitrogen relative to arsenic and selenium in the periodic table are referenced in the film. Alright. On Thursday, we will be doing The Outsiders. 1983 film. Here's a plot to this film. In 1960s Tulsa, Oklahoma greasers, Pony Boy Curtis and his brothers Derry and Soda, as well as Johnny Cade, Dale Daly, 2-Bit, and Steve Randall hang out. Their rivals are the Sox, short for socials, wealthier kids from the other side of town. The Curtis brothers live together, with Derry taking the parental role because their parents died in the accident. While Pony Boy is walking home, some Sox beat him up. Greasers show up and rescue him. One night, Pony Boy, Johnny, and Daly go to a drive-in where Daly tries to hit on Cherry after Daly leaves Cherry, and her friend Marcia invite Pony Boy and Johnny to sit with them. Later, the boys walk the girls home when their boyfriends Bob Sheldon and Randy Anderson confront them. Johnny recognizes Bob as a sock who beat him up. The girls defuse the situation by going home with the socks. When Ponyboy arrives home, Derry yells at and hits him, causing Ponyboy to run away. Ponyboy fetches Johnny and goes to a park. They are confronted by Bob and Randy and the three other socks, who chase and attack them. They beat up Johnny and try to drown Ponyboy in a fountain. Ponyboy passes out, and when he comes to when he sees Johnny holding a blood-stained switchblade and muttering about killing Bob, whose body is nearby and whose friends have fled. Ponyboy and Johnny go see Dally, who advises them to go to Windrixville to lay low. He gives them the money for food and a loaded gun to protect themselves. Johnny and Ponyboy hop onto a cargo train and take a refuge in an abandoned church. They cut their hair and Ponyboy bleaches his to pass time. The boys play poker and read. After a few days, Dally arrives with news that Cherry is offered to support the boys in court and that he told the police that Johnny and Pony were in Texas. He gives Ponyboy a note from Soda Pop asking Ponyboy to come home. Johnny says they have to turn themselves in, but Dally disagrees. When the boys return to the church, they find the building on fire, with children trapped inside. They rescue the kids, but Johnny suffers a broken back and severe burns. Ponyboy reunites with his brother. Johnny is charged with manslaughter of killing Bob, while Ponyboy may be sent into a boy's room. Bob's death sparks calls from the socks for a rumble. On the day of the rumble, Randy tells Ponyboy he wants no part of it. Later on, Ponyboy and Two-Bit visit Johnny in the hospital. Cherry visits Ponyboy to talk about court. She tells him she does not want to visit Johnny at the hospital because he killed Bob. Later that night, the Greasers win the rumble. Afterwards, Dally drives an injured Ponyboy to the hospital to visit Johnny. They enter Johnny's hospital room to tell him about the Greasers' victory, but he is unimpressed and dies after telling Ponyboy to stay gold. Unable to bear Johnny's death, Dally wanders through the hospital. He robs a grocery store but is shot and wounded by the owner, and with the police after him, Dally calls Derry and tells him to meet him in the park to hide him, but the police get there first and surround Dally. Unwilling to live any longer, Dally commits suicide by cop pointing his empty gun at them, and they respond by shooting him dead. Everyone goes to court for Bob's murder, and the judge finds Ponyboy not guilty. After court, Cherry sees Ponyboy at school and ignores him. During an argument between Derry and Ponyboy, Soda Pop flees as they follow him. They stop as Soda Pop says they can't live like that anymore and have to start to get along with which they agree on. Later, Ponyboy finds a letter from Johnny saying that saving the children was worth sacrificing his own life. Alright. On Friday, we will be doing Reminiscence 2021 film. Here's a plot to this film. In the near future, climate change has caused the seas to rise and flood Miami. Extreme daytime temperatures have forced most of the population to live at night. Nick Bannister and his friend Paul Watts operate a business that allows people to relive memories. One day, a walk-in client, May, asks for their help finding her missing keys. Nick is instantly attracted to her. Observing her memories of that evening, he learns that she is a nightclub singer and feels a connection with her when she sings his favorite song, Where or When. Nick and May begin a relationship, although Watts distrusts her. Months later, May has disappeared without a word. Hoping to find a clue to her whereabouts, Nick spends hours repeatedly reliving his memories and of their relationship, a dangerous practice that could forever trap him in the memory. Prosecutor Avery Castillo hires Nick and Watts to retrieve memories from a comatose suspect who worked over a drug kingpin named Saint Joe in New Orleans. In the men's memories, Nick sees that May was once Saint Joe's mistress and had become addicted to bacca, and highly addictive narcotic. The memories also revealed that May stole Saint Joe's stash of bacca before fleeing town. Nick is devastated to learn that May was an addict, something that Watts already knew. Nick travels to New Orleans and confronts St. Joe, who says that he has heard nothing from May since she left him. St. Joe has his men try to drown Nick, but Watts rescues him and kills St. Joe and his crew. Back in Miami, Nick has Watts relive her last encounter with May and discovers May broke into the vault where they store recordings of their clients' memories. They discover May stole recordings of Elsa Karen and client who repeatedly relived her trysts. With an older, wealthy lover, Nick recognizes the voice of her lover as Walter Sylvan, a wealthy land baron who has recently died. Investigating next, Nick Nick learns that Elsa was recently murdered by her young son but is kidnapped by a woman who matches May's description. While searching for May, Nick is attacked by Cyrus Booth, a former henchman of St. Joe. Realizing that Elsa's son was likely the child of Walter Sylvan, and thus a potential heir to his fortune, Nick confronts Sylvan's widow, Tamara, a former client whose memory has been damaged. In a moment of lucidity, Tamara points Nick to a place where Booth and May could have been hiding. Nick and Booth fight, with Booth almost drowning before Nick can subdue him. Nick takes Booth back to his office and hooks him up to the machine to view his memories. Booth's memories reveal that the basis of May's relationship with Nick was a lie. After Booth enlisted her in a plan to con Nick, she researched Nick to learn how to seduce him better and staged the loss of their keys, but the memories also showed that May come to genuinely love Nick. When Booth murdered Elsa, May took Elsa's son and fled, stashing him in an unknown location later. Booth found May and tried to force her to reveal the child's location. Nick watches the memory as May delivers a speech to Booth, which is actually meant for him. She indirectly reveals the location of Elsa's son and professes her love for Nick. Then, seeing only one way out of her situation, May takes a lethal dose of bacca and jumps off a balcony to her death. Devastated, Nick forces Booth to relive his worst memory. When St. Joe's men burned his face as punishment for skimming profits, he goes to confront Sylvan's legitimate son Sebastian, who hired Booth to eliminate Elsa and his half brother to protect his inheritance. Sebastian almost commits suicide, but he changes his mind and is arrested. Nick confesses to Watts that he intentionally burned Booth's memories, a major crime. He is convicted and is then allowed to serve his sentence using his machine to relive his time with May, which is implied to be the rest of his life. In this memory, Nick recounts to May a shortened version of the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, ending with the lovers reunited and happy before the story's unusual conclusion. Alright, also on Friday, We will be doing Respect 2021 film. Here's the plot to this film. In 1952, 10-year-old Aretha Franklin lives with her Baptist pastor father C.L. and her sisters Irma, and Carolyn in Detroit, Michigan. The sudden death of her mother, Barbara, traumatizes Aretha, and as a result, she is unwilling to speak with her until her father forces her to sing at church after weeks. 7 years later, Aretha, now a teen mother of 2 boys, meets Ted White, a local producer, at a party at her father's house. The two strike up a conversation before being interrupted by C.L., who warns Ted to stay away from his family. Later, C.L. surprises Aretha with tickets to New York for a meeting with Columbia Records executive John Hammond. After being offered a contract, Aretha begins to sing jazz records with Columbia, including Accent, Chew, 8, and The Positive. 4 albums later, Aretha still lacks a signature hit as a jazz singer. After singing a tribute to her inspiration and longtime family friend Dinah Washington, who was initially angered by the Gaster, she is told to find songs that move her and stop trying to fit a polished image of her father. Wants her to display. Aretha reunites with Ted, with whom she begins a relationship. Frustrated by her lack of success after 9 albums, Aretha begins skipping recording sessions to see him, embarrassing her father, much to a chagrin of her sisters and the dismay of their father. Aretha returns home and introduces Ted to her family and announces her desire to have Ted become her manager. Her father begrudgingly consents. 2 years later, Ted and Aretha marry and have a child. While Aretha is ultimately dropped by Columbia, Ted secures a deal with veteran record producer Jerry Wexler of Atlantic Records, who pairs her with accomplished musicians in muscle shoals, where Aretha begins to record her first hit, I Never Loved a Man, The Way I Love You. However, the recording session is cut short after Ted gets into a fight with the manager of the studio. After a physical altercation with Ted results in a black eye, Aretha returns home to Detroit and hears her own song on the radio, empowering her to take a more hands-on role in her career. One night, Aretha and Carolyn are inspired to rearrange Otis Redding's song "Respect" and it becomes a #1 single. Before a concert, Dr. Martin Luther King, a longtime family friend of the Franklins, honors Aretha with an award from the Southern Christian Leadership Center, proclaiming February 16 as Aretha Franklin Day in Detroit. Aretha sings another signature hit, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman," and makes plans to sing for another civil rights events in Memphis, defying Ted's plan for her to meet with Wexler and other executives to discuss the prospect of a tour. After Time magazine publishes an article depicting Ted's abuse towards Aretha in a hotel lobby, an angry Ted confronts Aretha, causing her to end their relationship. After the breakdown of her marriage to Ted, Aretha begins dating her tour manager Ken Cunningham, and eventually has her 4th child. Another 7 years later, after learning of Dr. King's assassination, Aretha's distraught father drunkenly argues with her over the direction of the movement, expressing doubt in the younger generation's patience and ability to make long-term gains before ultimately telling Aretha that she no longer walks in the spirit. Aretha continues to release hits, but has begun to overwork herself, constantly double booking the appearances and coping with the pressure of her career by increasingly turning to alcohol and drugs. Aretha's siblings attempt to stage an intervention, but Aretha angrily tells them they are supported by her success. During a performance, a drunken Aretha falls from the stage and Ken decides to leave. Aretha continues to find solace in her drinking until she sees a vision of her late mother and decides to sober up, leading to Ken reconciling her with her. Aretha becomes convicted that she must return to her gospel roots and approaches Wexler with the idea of producing a gospel album. Doubtful of the album's ability to sell, Wexler attempts to dissuade her before relenting on the condition that she allow the recording to be filmed. Aretha begins rehearsals with family friend James Cleveland, now a respected gospel artist. During the recording, Aretha is happy to see that her father has agreed to come, and he apologizes to Aretha for the pain that he has caused her. She begins to sing Amazing Grace, which became the highest-selling album of her career, with over 2 million copies in the United States, and earned a double platinum certification. Alright. Also on Friday, we will be doing Tina, Tessa 21 film. Here's a synopsis in this film. The film follows the life and career of musician Tina Turner, with Turner appearing in the film alongside Angelina Bassett, Oprah Winfrey, Kurt Loder, Katori Hall, Aaron Brach, Carl Arrington, Jimmy Thomas, LeJohn Fletcher, Wanda Graham, Roger Davis, and Terry Britton. In a Watch Tessa 21 interview with Today, Turner described the film as a parallel story of her memoir, Happiness Becomes You, which was released in December 2020 by Atria Books. The film is dedicated to Craig Turner, the youngest son of Tina Turner, who died in 2018. Alright, also on Friday, we will be doing Witch Hunt 2021 film. Unfortunately, there is no detail of this film. It's about witch hunt that there is no plot either. Alright. That's all the home video releases we got. So second, we will be doing TV series over home video releases. It's about Tari Tari. In episode 11, Filling Up and Coming Up Short, it's all about as the choir club works hard on its musical, Tai Chi, who is creating background props, tries to recruit a decent painter, finding one who agrees on the condition he takes some photos of Sawa. As Konatsu tries to get help from the vocal group, she overhears from Naoko that the school festival has been cancelled as the school is being closed down to make way for a new building. Just as the group looks to be split up, Wakana reveals she has finished writing her song, deciding they should have their own festival so they can sing it together. Alright, that's all the TV series over home releases we got. So third, we will be doing Emma Monkey Pictures and Donkey D's Company and Romacal Productions shorts. It is about Tom and Jerry. In 1948, it says The Trust Hurts by July 17, 1948. The summary says Tom, Jerry, and Spike, or here called Butch, are fed up with fighting each other and call it trust, but the piece falls apart when they fight over a steak. The note says the fourth time Tom and Jerry will lose. Okay, alright. The Trust Hurts, 1948. That's all the shorts we got. So fourth, we will be doing Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra series. It is about Mei Mei, who gets a school dance done by the local by Beatrice and Horace, who plays the flute again, and May May is going to have their school dance together at the Parliament Hill, and they dance together at the Christmas Happy Life, and also the flutist Horace and Beatrice plays the flute of the Christmas songs, and luckily becomes a successful performance at their dance. And Mimi is Mimi is trying to make a trash over the dash. All right, that's all I got for today. Let's do some work now. Hey guys, yes, it's my birthday today. It's my birthday tomorrow. Your birthday tomorrow? Yeah, my birthday tomorrow. We should do something. What we should do? I don't know. We should do something. Okay, good.